Hey, there's only 3 fundamental truths or rules to hitting a great golf shot, and that is have a straight club path, a straight or square club face, and strike it in the center of the club face. No matter what technique, what type of swing, or what coach you're following, those are 3 immutable fundamental truths. Now there's a 4th fundamental truth, which I would argue is just as important as the big 3. And when you master it, you will be able to strike the ball so pure that you'll feel like one of those guys on TV. So right after this, let's talk about this 4th important principle of ball striking that you really must have to get good. Stay tuned. Hey, this is Steve with HitItLonger.com. I continue on my mission to hit the ball longer and straighter than I ever have before, and I hope to help you too. All right, so we have straight club path, square club face, and centered strike as our big 3 truths at the moment of impact. But there's a 4th one, especially for every shot being struck off the turf. And I would argue that it is just important, and that is the low point. Now, what is the low point? The low point is where in space is your club when it reaches the lowest point on its arc. Notice it descends, it flattens out, and then it ascends again. So where is the club when it bottoms out and reaches its lowest point of the arc? Now, we have a vertical component and a horizontal component to this that we must master. The vertical component, of course, is make sure that you get the club down, striking the grass. Some of you are really bad at this because you've become really bad at the horizontal part. So what tends to happen is as you hit the grass too early, way back here, because you're not controlling your low point, you're kind of hitting it way back here, and that doesn't feel very good. You kind of chunk it, stick the club in the grass, ball goes, the divot can go farther than the ball sometimes, right? So usually an athlete or a golfer will say, well, the lesser of 2 evils is to raise the vertical. Now I don't take these big divots behind it, and you're going to top it a few times. You're going to hit some line drives, but at least the ball's going to get farther than the divot. So you can see what happens. It's not the vertical part that's causing you the issue. The original error is that you're not getting the low point to be where it's supposed to be. Now, using an alignment stick, let's take a closer look at what we want the impact zone to look like. All right, so if we zoom in a little closer, you can see that the orange stick is 3 or 4 inches in front of the ball, and that is really where we'd like the club to reach its low point. We want the club reaching its low point right here, which means at this point it's also probably going to have caught up to the handle of the club. This point really in your stance should be about at your left heel or left instep, but it's a story for another time. So if we take this and we look at this in slow-mo, we really want that club to come down and reach bottom here. You see where I'm striking the dirt each time. Now that's 3 or 4 inches in front of the ball right here, which means what's going to happen here to the ball, it's going to strike just on the downstrike here. When you look at this in slow-mo, see that the ball actually gets hit and takes off before the leading edge of the club ever actually contacts the turf. We've got a forward-leaning shaft of about 3 to 4 inches here, just like the guys on TV. The ball will come off clean, and then you'll bottom out right about here, and then after that the club starts to ascend, hopefully as the club head freely passes the handle and the shaft starts to go the other way. Now, once you're able to control your low point being the correct amount, and this is an 8-iron, and I like to have my low point about 3 or 3.5 inches in front of the ball, and it'll strike very cleanly with the correct part in the bounce. First the leading edge will carve, and then the bounce will make sure that the divot isn't too deep. So you can actually make the grass or the turf your friend again. All you people that are hitting back here, striking too soon, and eventually you start to become pickers because you're bottoming out way too early. You don't want to try to bottom out at the ball. That wouldn't be foolproof enough. But anywhere from 2 to 4 inches with an 8-iron should be just fine. The average guy on TV is probably 3.5 or so, maybe even 4 inches in front, just like that. This enables you to get everything you want out of the shot, enables you to hit the ball with a forward-leaning shaft, to hit the ball with the descending blow, to compress the golf ball to its maximum for each club, control your trajectory, and hit the ball the correct distance each time. All right, now that we've established where we want the low point to be, both horizontally and vertically, let's figure out some drills or some ideas or feels that are going to help you really hone in on making the perfect low point. The first idea is, I like this alignment stick drill. I've placed the stick perpendicular to my intended line of flight, and I've put it about, you can even go 1 golf ball behind. The stick is about 1 golf ball behind the back of the real ball. And what I'll do here, just as I'm setting up behind the shot, I'll just pull back for a practice swing. And all I want to do here is repeatedly strike in front of the stick, clean. So here, if you hit the stick, you know that you've bottomed out too soon. It's not a great one for the takeaway, but just to repeat impact over and over again like this, you can just practice. And what you see starts to happen, you'll screw up the first couple and you'll hit the stick and get frustrated, but eventually you'll learn what it feels like to strike in front of the stick, which will give you your 3 or 4 inches in front of the ball. Start to see something really interesting happening with your weight shift and your torso, that the only way now that I can get this, see, that's too far back, the only way I can get this is to move to my left foot and start to unwind my chest. It's the only way I can get this in front far enough. Look at this position that I'm in just post impact. Club's right about here. It's going to make you move a lot of muscles that you're not used to moving. A lot of you who are having a hard time hitting back here, it's because your weight has either stayed 50-50 or worse, you fall from 50-50 back to 60-40 or worse, and there's not a lot of rotation of the chest this way. Not a lot of driving of this back leg up to the front line with the front knee. So start really miniature like that. I would do about 3 in a row successfully on a small scale. Then you'll move up and make your body feel the same. So you got to step up to this thing pretty quickly and pull the trigger so you can remember what it felt like to move your body to make the forward divot. Now this will also help you tremendously with your greenside game. Your chips and pitches will be coming out much cleaner. This exercise has really helped a number of my students transform their short game. Now their scores are coming down from the 90s into the 80s just from being able to pop the ball on the green and one putt a few times. So you start with those shorties again, and now you might start scaling up a little bit. So a couple of those practice swings, and then maybe a little bit harder here. And it's a nice clean strike in front of the ball a few inches, but also now the turf becomes my friend, not my enemy. I can go ahead and feel like I'm going down there pretty deep. And of course, the design of the club is really going to control or help you control the depth of the divot. So your intention is to really drive through the turf, and you'll get this correct. Every club has a little bit of different ratio of leading edge to bounce that will help you control the depth of the divot that you need to get the correct shot. Now, laying a towel out in lieu of an alignment stick is also a fantastic exercise. You want to make sure that the towel is really nice and flat, and when you can do that, it won't interfere with your takeaway. But you do the same exercise, but now you can actually have it work with a ball, and it really tests you to whether or not you're bottoming out or reaching your low point in the right spot. So let's do a couple of practice swings here next to it. Again, start small. See, I'm not touching the towel, and this will be really tough. It'll be much tougher. You think that I've given myself some leeway behind the ball, at least a full ball width or 2 inches even. But what's weird is with the towel, it'll be much, much more difficult than you think it is. Get a couple good successful practice swings in. And again, just start small with the pitch. See how difficult that is. I just barely, you can see in the slow-mo, I did just catch the edge of the towel. So 2 inches is really kind of exaggerated pro mode to this drill. Won't let you get away with anything at all. I actually struck that ball really nice and clean. So once you can do this at 2 inches, boy, you are set. So now here we are at more like 2.5 to 3 inches. And try to strike it clean again. Just like that. The towel is left relatively undisturbed, and that gives you feedback that you have struck your low point, 3 or 4 inches in front of the ball. You really want it to be up really close to your left heel with every club in the bag, and that way you'll really strike the ball pure and compress it, just like the guys on TV. All right, those are some nice clean strikes with forward lean and a lot of ball compression. This will help you from greenside all the way out to even your fairway woods, long irons, and hybrids, where you strike it clean without any turf behind, lift that ball up in the air and get it way, way down the fairway. Hey, as usual, if you have any questions, leave them down below in the comments section. I'd love to hear your success stories as well. I try to read every comment you post. So I feel like this is the 4th big fundamental of pure ball striking. So you want to become an expert on controlling your low point, both the horizontal and the vertical, being able to do it very, very consistently. Hey, thanks so much for watching. I'm Steve. Head over to hititlonger.com for over 100 more, in fact it's like 300 more articles and videos that I'm sure are going to make you improve. And as usual, I'll either see you in the next video or I'll see you longer and straighter down the fairway. Everybody take good care.
Oh.